Well, my friends, we've made it over to the Hainbuch booth, one of my favorite places in the whole world to be. Definitely my favorite red planet for sure. And today we're talking CentroteX. And if I'm in Mexico, which I've done this before, because my brain works differently from how I understand things, and it looks like CentroteX. It's not, it's CentroteX. For those of you out there whose brain works like mine, probably no one, I apologize. I got Jarred here today, and we're gonna talk about why this is your next best purchase for your machine shop. And we're gonna start that off by asking Jarred, my friend, when somebody invests in this technology, and I get very excited about it, knowing about how much setup time and breakdown time I lost in my every day, every week, over and over again, and I know how quickly you can get to micron precision. But when you go into a shop and you see someone who has invested in this technology, what have you noticed in the differences of their production?
Yeah, so the biggest difference is obviously their changeover time. So with this system, we can take what is normally a 1, 2, 3 hour changeover time, where they're removing everything off the draw tube, off of the spindle nose, they're putting everything back on, they're dialing everything back in, indicating, it can take a very long time. With this system, there's no indication required. It's literally a quarter turn, it pulls off, you put the new chuck on, quarter turn, tighten it up, it's over. 5 minutes or less. So that is the number one thing we see, is that it's such a drastic reduction in changeover time that green lights mean money, red lights, you're losing money. So we want to keep that light green as long as possible.
Yeah, it's a great explanation to get this whole thing started, because connecting with the audience and letting them know that's a real statement. Everywhere I go to work with customers of yours, and everywhere you go, letting them know about the technology, it is true to know that within seconds, we are in micron precision that doesn't even have that time wasted of tapping it in and getting,
right.
I think back and the frustration, I just wish that I would have had one of these. But I have to ask you, when I invest in Hainbuch and I already have a system out there, can I only use this with your system, and do I need to invest all over again, or does it kind of become flexible?
So as much as we would love you to have only Hainbuch work holding on the CentroteX system, if you're a shop that's made an investment in other chucks, other mandrels, we can adapt those to CentroteX so that you don't have to go out and buy all new tooling just to make your machine run more efficiently. So it's a huge advantage for us to be able to do that with the CentroteX, because it really is an incentive for the customer of, this was going to cost me so much money to reinvest in all this tooling. Now I can take all the existing tooling I've already bought for these machines and just put them on an adapter plate, and we can run them.
To me, that's the answer everyone wants to hear,
Sure.
right? We know we need to upgrade our shop, but sometimes if the whole package needs to be invested in, we'll hesitate for a minute. But if we can do it piece by piece, your flexibility to do that, I think, just solved a lot of people's problems out there. But when it comes to money, and money is a priority, especially as we navigate our shops and growth and people and all this AI and technology we want to adapt. And we know we need something like this, because downtime is a real stressful point, and we all need to make chips. How many times or how often do I need to use it for ROI to really come into play? Because Hainbuch is known for high quality.
Sure.
And oftentimes with high quality, although the ROI of the price per part is typically really good, you're gonna have an upfront cost. So how many times do I need to use this for this to really pay me back?
So there's really no magic number to how often you change over to make the CentroteX work. Obviously if you're a shop that change over 4 or 5 times a week, your ROI is gonna be incredibly quick, but it can also be very quick if you're a shop that takes 3, 4, 5 hours to do a changeover. If you're a one-man shop, or if you're a tool room that has limited employees, limited availability, this system can reduce the man hours it takes to change over a chuck. And so there's no magic number as to how many changeovers or what volume do I need to run to make this work. It's more of a how much downtime can I afford where my machine is not running.
We're talking about this ROI. A lot of people think if I'm going to invest in a product like this, I need to have maybe 1,000 of the same product, 10,000 of the same product. How flexible is it in the high mix job shops? And I say it's probably rhetorical because we just talked about how easy it is and how fast it is to change over and get into microns, but I want to clarify it for the audience. How many jobs do we need to have really in order to make this work?
It could be as low as 2 jobs where I just have to change over quickly. If you're the kind of shop that says, I got an order to make 100 of these parts, and then that afternoon you get an order to make 300 of the other part, how much downtime can you afford to do your changeovers where you could take 5 minutes, finish your first batch, change over to your new work holding, complete that other order, change back, and go back to what you were doing before. You know, we have a lot of customers who have these systems where they may only make 1 or 2 high volume parts, but they've got 30 other part numbers that they have to be able to run on that machine. And whether that's on a jaw chuck or a clamping head chuck or a mandrel, they can do it all on CentroteX without having to take a lot of time changing over or buying a new machine to handle the overload capacity. They can do it all right here on this spindle.
Jarred, you know what I just thought of based on your description just now, and I hope along with what you just described to everyone watching is, I think about the opportunity to do hot jobs, right? A job comes in and maybe 5 companies bid on it. They say, I can do it in this amount of time, get it done for you quickly. I know my costs are gonna be this based on my setup and breakdown time. To me, knowing the capability of how quickly this can be changed over and then put back to maybe an original, this is probably really good for a quality bid to win a job where we can still make money and the client we're working with can get a lower bid than some of the other folks out there, just based on the fact we can throw in this whole system and go, we're ready to go.
Sure. I mean, imagine you have your own shop and you're running a job. You get an email across your desk, hey, I need these by tomorrow morning. It's 5:30, you're getting ready to leave. In 5 minutes or less, you can change over, throw the part in, walk away, turn the lights off. You're running parts. You know, one of the big things that I've noticed while I've been here is I've never had a customer complain about buying a CentroteX system. They've never complained about the benefits. I've had a lot of people tell me, hey, I wish I would have bought one of those, but I've never had a customer say, I wish I hadn't invested in this technology and improved my changeover times.
Dude, you've said it perfectly. I mean, that is exactly right. I also, going around the world and working with you guys and talking with you guys and talking with your customers, never once said, I wish I didn't buy it. It's always, I should have bought this years ago in order to create this success.
Right.
All right, Jarred, well, you've answered all my questions. I hope that everyone else's questions have been answered. If not, leave them in the comments when this video goes up. Jarred will be able to answer them, as you can see, very expertly. Jarred, you are doing an amazing job. We really, truly love having you on camera and learning more about the Hainbuch technology. And thank you all for watching. Time is the one thing we cannot manufacture more of, so if you shared it with Jarred and I today, we truly appreciate and value your time.